say. So if you want to have a look at that, that's there as well. Now, let's go off to Sharjah. We're just minutes away now, about 13 minutes away from England against South Africa. We're working out the connotations here, what has to be done. We think South Africa, if they bat first, have to win by round about 60 runs. Let's see if they are. Bazid Khan is talking to the captains.
Semi-final places up for grabs. Crucial encounter here. We've got two captains, Eoin Morgan and Temba Bavuma. David Boone, the match referee. Morgan has the coin.
Tails.
Tails is the call. Morgan, what do you do and why?
We're going to have a ball first. Again, the wicket, well, the results here have suggested that chasing does help. We played a game recently against Sharjah, or against Sri Lanka, where I think things did help chasing. So for obvious reasons, we're going to do the same today.
Yeah, Sharjah is quite unique. Is that a problem when you're captaining a side? Is quite an issue with the wicket and also the ground?
Yeah, I think it certainly presents a different challenge for every team that plays here. I think trying to anticipate how much dew will come in or how better conditions will get can be quite difficult. It was a challenge that we managed to overcome in the last game. But again, contributing to that was an unbelievable innings by Jos Buttler and a huge contribution from our bowling unit. So again, every game we've managed to turn up and produce somewhere in and around our best. Today's no different. South Africa are a really strong side. Another challenge within that is going to be adapting to conditions.
Any team changes?
There is one team change. Tom Mills is out and Mark Wood comes in for his first game.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. Cheers, Temba. Good luck, buddy.
Temba, losing the toss not ideal, considering that you need to win handsomely today.
Yeah, look, I mean, if the toss had gone our way, we probably would have bowled as well. Like you mentioned, looking a bit forward. In saying that, we're going to have to start well with the bat. We know that it can be a bit tough here at the beginning, but we'll have to assess and then see what total we can put up.
Considering the game, will there be a tweaking in the way that you go about it? Because you also have to look at net run rate.
I think, yeah, look, I think at the beginning, you know, those first 6 overs we'll probably play it as we normally. I think we want to get to a position where we can lay a foundation, set it up, so that we can be able to make those type of changes. Yeah.
Any team changes?
Same team.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
So, news out here, England have won the toss and are bowling.
No real surprise there, winning the toss in Sharjah, and so it'll be South Africa who will have the dewy ball to deal with. We think here that they need to win by about 60 runs. At least they'll know that, having chosen to bat first. So the South African team then, Quinton to Kock, Reeza Hendricks, Rassie van der Dussen, Temba Bavuma, who you heard speaking there, Aiden Markram, David Miller, Dwaine Pretorius, Kagiso Rabada, Keshav Maharaj and Anrich Nortje. And so England, Roy Buttler, Malan, Bairstow Morgan, Moeen, Livingstone, Woakes, Jordan, Adil Rashid, and Mark Wood then comes in for his first game. He had that ankle problem. Tim Mills, of course, has been ruled out now, which is a great shame for him. But, he pulled a muscle in the previous game, so Mark Wood, well, I suppose, happily coincides with a bit of a return to fitness for him needing to play and to inject some pace into England's attack. So, there we go. We know more or less what's going to happen. I can see Phil Tufnell over there. We've substituted Stuart Ball for Phil Tufnell. Well, how lovely to see you.
Yes, lovely to see you, Agus. Lovely to see you, Carlos.
I know. Here we are, sort of reunited.
Yes, it is.
Reunited.
A Manchester branch, watching it pour with rain outside, but we've got the telly.
It looks horrible out there. I mean, I'm sure you've been watching this avidly all the way through.
Yes.
And
playing well, haven't we?
Yes.
In good form.
Yes.
In good form. And that's dropped nicely as well, just winning that toss for Eoin Morgan.
Do you know the ones that worry me, though, are the semis and possibly the final?
Well, sometimes they do sort of say it's nice to build into a tournament, yes, isn't it? You know, and get your timing right and peak just at the right time. But I think England are in such good form. Like for like, as I say, shame that Tim Mills has had to pull out through injury, but then you've got the pace of Mark Wood, OK, not left arm, and that angle and the slower balls perhaps as Tim at the end. But, yeah, like-for-like replacement. England look very strong in the batting, and they're playing with confidence.
So, Carlos, you're batting first, and you need to win by 60. How are you going to play it? Is it an absolute bugle from the start?
Yeah. You'd love to think that. But if you look at how Australia played the game just now, They set it up perfectly. The first 10 overs, obviously you have to be positive, you have to show intent. 6 of those first overs are the power play. But when you get to 10 overs, then you really mash the accelerator. What you don't want, and not to be a pessimist, you don't want to absolutely chase it and be 60 for 4 after the power play, because then you're struggling to even win, far less win by 60. So it's still about laying a good foundation. If they can get to that 10 over mark, 80 for 1, 80 for 2, that means they would have shown some sort of intent. They've still got a good foundation, got some wickets in hand, and you never know, they could easily get 190 with that platform. So set it up and then just have a go.
Have a go. Don't hold back. It's so crucial, isn't it, the power plays? You know, I mean, that's, the stats are out there. If you lose 3 wickets, the percentages of, chances of winning a game is difficult. Wayne Larkins always used to say to me, Aggers, when you go out there, you've got to have a little peep. You've got to have a little peep.
Well, he didn't know very long.
Open at least one eye.
He used to smash it from the start.
Well, yes, but you've got to, I agree with Carlos. You've got to try and set some sort of platform and then just not hold back. But I mean, England so strong in every department.
I mean, 60 runs is a lot. I mean, that as a winning margin. You're right. I mean, it's 190, which is high score, to bowl out for 130, which is
that can happen.
Big margin. Yes, it can happen.
That can happen.
It can happen.
That can happen if you just get a few. I mean, the one thing that South Africa have got is a very good bowling unit. They have got a bowling unit that could
run through.
Could create a boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Well, we're about ready with the anthems. I think actually the players all coming out. Reminder that England have won the toss. They put South Africa into bat, which is the way that you do it there in Sharjah. Small crowd, but umpires lined up. It's been a nice warm evening again for sure. So we'll have the national anthems, and then England's final game in this qualifying section will get underway, and we'll know much more about the destiny of the semi-finals and so on. After today and after tomorrow. Of course, as well, to get them finally settled. Mark Wood lined up and playing for England. There are a few England supporters I can see there, not many, but sort of a familiar echoey sound going around Sharjah, which is about 20 miles or so. Well, it used to be about 25 miles outside Dubai. That's more or less in the same place. It's all filled in. The desert's just been built on. So the national anthems to come, and when you come back, Simon Mann will be sitting in here.
Anthems time for the final match in Group 1 of the Super Sixes in this men's T20 World Cup. England against South Africa. South Africa batting first, England winning the toss and chasing again. They've only had to bat first once. Just wonder whether in a situation like this they might have opted to bat first and just see, they did have to bat first in a semi-final. They're going to probably get through to the semi-final and a final. Anyway, they want to win the game to make it 5 out of 5. Big day for South Africa, big challenge ahead of them really, because there's a game within a game, and we'll try to keep you up to date with that, but probably what we need to know is South Africa's score first before we can say too much, although Andy Zaltzman has been frantically working the numbers on this. And you reckon that if South Africa get about 180, what does that mean for England?
Well, I think if I've done the maths right, and that's quite a big if, I think if England get bowled out for 80 or less, they would be knocked out.
Right. So England will have, when they bat, England will have a target, and South Africa will have a target as well.
Yes.
And one is based on England not getting knocked out, one is based on South Africa perhaps trying to knock out, Australia and or England.
Yes. I mean, what if they both want to knock out Australia? We could be.
Well, that's it. I mean,
Germany, West Germany, Austria in 1982 Football World Cup.
That's right, and they played a goal to straw, and then after that they changed the regulations of the competition, didn't they? As a result of that, they made both teams, or both the final matches being played at the same time, kick off at the same time, so they couldn't do that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that England will play hard to win this game, and they'll just want 5 wins out of 5, and if that means Australia survive in the competition, then so be it. And it looks as though, and that's the most likely scenario at the moment, semi-final of Australia, Pakistan, England, New Zealand. That's the most likely scenario. It doesn't mean to say it's guaranteed to happen. Both teams pausing before the start of this game. We've had the national anthems, and now both teams are lined up and ready to take a knee. South Africa, all the players going down on one knee, and that of course was an issue earlier in the tournament. Quinton de Kock said he wasn't going to do it, and different players actually had different poses before matches. Some took a knee, some stood to attention, some stood with one arm raised. Quinton de Kock is down on one knee, opening the batting for South Africa. Now they all rise, and play is about to get underway in Sharjah. With South Africa batting first, and just to remind you the team news, South Africa are de Kock, Hendricks, Markram, Bavuma, and Dussen, Miller, Pretorius, Rabada, Maharaj, Nortje and Shamsi, and England making the change with Mark Wood coming into the side in place of Tymal Mills, who's got that quad injury, went off in the middle of an over in the last game against Sri Lanka. And here is Moeen Ali to open the bowling to the right-handed Hendricks, and Hendricks is forward, playing that away into the offside. It's picked up by Roy at cover, and there is no run. And if you want to hear actually Tymal Mills talking about the whole situation, his injury with Mark Wood, here is Moeen going into bowl to Hendricks. Hendricks plays it into the onside for the first run of the match, out towards long on. It's in the Good Pace for Radio podcast, which is available via BBC Sounds. South Africa 1 for no wicket in this first over. It's damage to South Africa, really done on the first Saturday of the tournament for them a couple of weeks or so ago, when they lost to Australia in that really tight game. First match in this group. It was a really enthralling game. It's actually one of the best games in the whole World Cup so far. It was a slow burner in Abu Dhabi. First match in Group 1, won by Australia with 2 balls to spare. South Africa only making 18 for 9. Australia stumbling and fumbling their way towards their victory target. Needed 8 from the final over. A couple of strong blows got them home. Familiar tones of Jerusalem in the background. Not that many singing it. Here's Moeen Ali bowling. Shout for LBW from behind. From Buttler, nothing from Moeen. Against de Kock, the left-hander. He's drifting down the leg side.
Moeen has dismissed de Kock twice in international cricket and twice in franchise cricket, in all T20 cricket. Got him out 4 times in 30 balls for just 37 runs.
Moeen bowls to de Kock, gives himself some room, hits his up and over. That's the first boundary of the day. 1 banks out towards the wide long off boundary. Good stroke from de Kock, giving himself some room and going inside out over that extra cover region. And South Africa have to 5 for no wicket. So just a reminder, there's a game within a game for both these teams. And the game is much harder. The game within the game is much harder for South Africa than it is for England.
Good sign of intent by de Kock.
Moeen bowls to de Kock, and Moeen follows de Kock this time. De Kock went leg side, Moeen followed him. De Kock knocks it into the onside for a single. And we have seen he is such a dangerous player at the top of the order, Quinton de Kock. He's done it to England. I've seen him do it to them in 50-over cricket. 6 for no wicket. Just flaying the bowling in the power play overs. Now Hendricks, the right-hander, Moeen bowls to him outside the off-stump, gives himself some room, chops it away, one bounce out towards backward point, where it's picked up by Malan. And there is no run. That's the end of the first over, Carlos. South Africa 6 for no wicket.
Yeah, England back in that early spin initiative that they've employed for a lot of the tournament so far. It'd be interesting to see where this Yorkers and his full repertoire skills. And I think that role probably suits a Mark Wood a lot better. So it'd be interesting to see if they use him as the enforcer in the middle or if he gets a couple in the top and couple at the back.
Yeah, Mark Wood back in the side for England today. Has had that ankle injury. And of course, there will be a lot of focus on how Mark Wood goes today. The England players, the advanced party has made it to Queensland. They've gone to their resort hotel as they prepare. Well, they have to quarantine for a while. England preparing for the Ashes, and then players like Chris Woakes will be joining them. Chris Woakes is going to bowl the second over, and he moves in now. Right arm over the wickets. Left-handed de Kock with a slip in. De Kock comes forward and plays that very respectfully away into the offside towards cover, and there is no run.
De Kock has had problems against off-spin at the start of innings in T20 international cricket. Slightly less so in franchise cricket, but in internationals, 8 times he's been out in the power play to an off-spinner. Averages 26 against off-spin in the power play, compared with over 50 against seam bowling.
He's got some seam bowling to face at the moment. De Kock, what's his record like against England? I seem to remember him smashing some England bowling in South Africa in a one-day series. I know it's a bit different, but it's still white ball cricket in the power play. Woakes bowls, de Kock pushes it up towards mid-off, Moeen's onto it, underarms the return in, but de Kock is through for the single, takes him to 6. I suppose what I'm saying is, does he relish England's bowling? I've seen him do well, compared to perhaps one or two of the other top-rank sides. Our umpires for this game are Chris Brown and Joel Wilson. Paul Wilson is the television umpire. And in Test cricket, you can have a day where you can slumber a bit as the third umpire, but not so much in T20. You get called on quite a lot. Here is Woakes bowling. Ball just outside the off-stump, dabbed away. Finds the gap there. Morgan goes back from cover, knocks it back inside the rope. The circle, and they go through for a single.
Everything just happens a lot quicker in T20, doesn't it? Third umpire could be called for a run out, a review, even no balls now, because they're on the balls, taken out to the hand of the standing umpire. So yeah, no time to rest as either umpire or third umpire.
8 for no wicket. Middle of the second over. Hendricks on 2. De Kock there on 6, and here is Woakes bowling to de Kock. De Kock tries to flick it away into the onside, into a gap, hits it straight at Chris Jordan, who's fielding it mid-on, who immediately rushes in, bends down, picks up and hurls the ball at Jos Buttler, who was England's hero in that match against Sri Lanka, which I thought was one of the most intriguing games of this competition so far. And there haven't been that many really tight games, but that had a real frisson to it, the to and fro of the match.
Kept you interested all the way through.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Here's Woakes bowling, forced away by de Kock up towards mid-off. They get a single. Moeen goes away to his left and sends in the return. Which is a strange thing to say when you look at the eventual result. 26 runs seems like quite a comfortable victory for England, and ultimately I suppose it was, but there was a few big plays in that game, and there was also, I mean, something that's been overlooked in the sort of assessment of the match. A lot of focus on Buttler's 100, because there was an LBW shout against Buttler that was umpire's call. So I mean, that could easily have gone Sri Lanka's way, and Buttler would have been nipped out relatively early. Woakes bowls. Hendricks pushes it away towards cover. picked up by Morgan, and there's no run. That's a good start from Woakes. Tight line, not giving much away there. 3 singles off the over. And South Africa a 9 for no wicket after 2, with Hendricks on 2 and de Kock on 7.
Quinton de Kock's record against England in T20 international cricket. This is his 9th innings against England. The previous 8, he's made 29 or more 7 times, and just the other innings was 17. So he's been consistent, just a couple of half centuries amongst that very fast scoring rate of 167 per 100 balls, which equates around about 10 and over. So he's made kind of consistent fast starts without then going on to make big scores in one-day international cricket. Terrific record, 3 centuries, 3 other half centuries in 12 innings, average 65 and close to a run a ball strike rate.
Moeen bowls 2 to Kock, who powers him up towards the long off boundary for 4. England have got Jordan inside the circle. Again, de Kock using his feet and doing well. He's up to 11. South Africa to 13 for no wicket. And if South Africa are to get this sort of total that they can potentially knock out Australia or even England, then field de Kock is really important at the top here. Moeen bowls to him, sweep shot, misses it down the leg side, hits Buttler's gloves, goes away for an extra run. I'm sure this is going to be called wide. Yeah, so they're through for 2 wides there.
I'd love to see South Africa get a nice little 180, 195, something like that. And just keep us interested. All 3 teams could be out if they get up to 190,
Steady, Carlos.
195. Neutral?
No, you're
Neutral?
right. We've had our fun on the neutral matches. You can have yours, yeah.
My time to relish it.
Moeen bowls to Hendricks. Hendricks cuts. Hits it straight at Malan. Sorry, Bairstow, who's fielding at point. There is no run. 15 for no wicket. Hendricks on 2. 2 from 6. Moeen bowls to Reeza Hendricks. Again, he cuts, but straight to Morgan, fielding at short cover. And there's no run. 2 from 7 now. Just sense the pressure building on Hendricks. 2 dot balls. Remember, Stuart Law says something normally happens after 2 dot balls. Hendricks is bowled. Going for a big slog into the leg side. And he's bowled middle stump. Well, there you go. The 2 dot ball trick. He does it again. Moeen gets his wickets, 15 for 1.
That's twice today. We had the call just before wicket after 2 dot balls. He had to make a play. This, if we talk about matchups, this is his matchup. Off break bowler to the right hander in the power play. He had to try something. Couldn't keep throwing balls. Probably could have gone a bit straighter. Employed the sweep, missed it, spin through the gate, somewhat top of the leg stump. And Moeen Ali does it again.
Hendricks is out for 2. Well, he did mention the 2 dot ball situation, and then you feel the pressure, and you sense the pressure building a bit on Hendricks. He just looked a bit fidgety. De Kock scoring reasonably freely at the one end, but Hendricks was 2 off 7, which is not what you want in the power play.
It wasn't a 2 off 7 with the ball hooping around or the pitch looking dodgy. It was generally just him hitting the ball straight to fielders. So after a period of time, and you know the pitch is good, you're middling the ball, but it's going straight to fielders. They start to try something else, and he got back and he punched and cut a few balls straight to point, straight to cover on the circle. He just felt as though he would either use his feet down the track or go across the line as he did. Ill-advised and lost his wicket in the process.
Rassie van der Dussen is in at number 3.
That's the 7th innings in which Moeen Ali has bowled in T20 international cricket this year, and he's taken at least 1 wicket in all 7. 11 wickets, average 10. Economy rate under a run a ball, a wicket every 10.5 deliveries so far this year.
15 for 1. Van der Dussen settles, twiddles his bat, looks over his left shoulder, and Moeen moves in to bowl to Van der Dussen, who clips that away through mid-wicket for his first run. I'm not sure if this has been mentioned already, but England wearing black armbands today in memory of Alan Iggleston, the former Kent and England bowler who died earlier this week. So Van der Dussen is underway, 16 for 1, coming to the end of the 3rd over. Moeen bowls, and de Kock tries to drop a single into the offside. It's not there. It really isn't. He would have run his partner out there. Roy rushing in from extra cover. Sends it into Buttler. And England through 3 overs, and South Africa 16 for 1. South Africa looking for a big score here. It's not easy at Sharjah, though, to get the big scores. We've seen that. It very much depends on the surface. What have you seen from the surface so far, Carlos?
It looks a good surface. We haven't seen the ball misbehave in any way. It hasn't bounced through and gone through the pitch, or it hasn't rolled or anything. It seems pretty true, and you can see the Kock seemingly trusts it because he's backing away from Moeen Ali, who we see is giving him trouble. Off breaks are giving him trouble, and he's going through the line and over mid-off and extra cover, seemingly against the angle, because although Moeen Ali's bowling off breaks, he doesn't really try to turn them with the new ball. He just wants to angle it into the stump. So it looks a good wicket, and I think they should be aiming for 185.
Woakes bowls. Van der Dussen goes outside off stump, plays a little ramp shot and gets it as well. Good stroke. Over short fine, down to the boundary. And Van der Dussen hits a 4 off his second ball. Premeditated, of course. And he lifted Woakes away over that short fine leg fielder. Very well executed shot.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of it. Yeah, it's an inside edge. So good to get into the position he got into. He didn't execute as well as he wanted to, but same result.
And the Dussen on to 5, 20 for 1, start of the 4th over. Woakes moves in, bowls, and goes past the outside edge. Van der Dussen's bat. I've seen that happening very often in the UAE. Just occasionally a bowler going past the outside edge, but generally speaking, not normally. I'm on the defence. Normally, you see a player playing attacking shot against a slower ball, say, miscuing it, or going for a wipe and missing it, but just trying to play a defensive shot or a push shot and missing it. Especially, so often.
Especially the line that Woakes has been bowling throughout the tournament. It's been just on top, fractionally outside off stump, probably 3.5 inside of 4 stump. They haven't been given much room, so to see the ball go outside the off stump and being played at and miss is a strange one. But they've now set fine leg and square leg, so you can continue to see that straight line bowling.
Woakes bowls, full. Van der Dussen pushes it up towards mid-off, sets off the thing that's not there, far too close to Chris Jordan, who's deep set, right on the edge of the circle, but he's got that good arm and good athleticism in the field, and he just decided not to risk it. Scored 20 for 1 in this 4th over. Kock just losing the strike for a moment here. 11 not out at the other end. Here is Woakes. Bowls to Van der Dussen, and Van der Dussen gets a straight ball which he can do nothing with, pushes it back up the pitch, and Woakes fields off his own bowling. He's been so tight for England, Chris Woakes, in this competition.
And then they've kept it very simple, and you can see in the last few games Australia did it, New Zealand do it, and England are doing it now. They're just setting straight fields and they're bowling good length back into the wicket. You miss, I hit. Take a risk if you want.
Woakes to Van der Dussen. Again, a straight ball clipped away by Van der Dussen on the drive, but straight to Moeen Ali at mid-on. And there is no run. 20 for 1 coming to the end of the 4th over. The man out was Reeza Hendricks, bowled by Moeen Ali for 2, having a wipe across the line. Van der Dussen spins the bat in his hand, a bit like Alex Stewart used to do. It's not quite as successfully. A real twiddler, Alec. Here is Woakes bowling, clipped away into the onside, but straight to mid-wicket. Malan is there, and the throw comes in. It was a risky single. If the throw had hit the stumps, then de Kock might have been run out, going to the danger end there, the striker's end. He was on the edge of the circle, Malan, but it was straight at him and played firmly. Anyway, they got away with it. They got the single. Van der Dussen keeps the strike. He is 6 not out, and Woakes has bowled 2 overs for 8 runs. And we look at the replay. Yeah, I mean, a direct hit, and he might have been an inch short. It was that tight.
A better fielder probably would have attacked that ball as well and given himself an extra second or so to play with. But again, de Kock is off strike. Those first 9 balls, majority of them come within the first 2.5 overs or so, and probably be losing a bit of rhythm now. That's an important thing to watch there as well. Moeen Ali again for his 3rd over. This is what his 3rd time for the tournament. He's gone 3 overs in a row.
And 1 for 13. 21 for 1. Yep, he's going to bowl his 3rd over. He's bowling to Van der Dussen. Crowd quite not a huge crowd in Sharjah. So waiting for this game to catch light, really. Van der Dussen goes back and knocks Moeen into the onside towards long on and walks through for a single. 22 for 1. Start of the 5th over. Yeah, just seeing the replay. I think de Kock would have been run out if that throw had hit the stumps from Malan, but it was about a yard wide.
Yeah, not even just the throw, but the fact he stood on the circle and then, don't want to say didn't anticipate, but he then advance in and get a bit of momentum to throw and save some time.
Moeen to de Kock, short, pulled away by de Kock. Straight to deep mid-wicket. Roy is there. And there's one more run to the total. When I say short, it wasn't that short from Moeen, but de Kock was able to rock back and play a cross-batted shot. Which we've been talking about in this competition a lot, about the danger of playing cross-batted strokes on a Sharjah pitch. You're not quite sure the bat, or it keeps very low. So almost got to play with a straight bat. Here is Moeen, turned away by van der Dussen into the onside. Goes to Roy, fielding it straight mid-wicket. There's no run.
Yeah, yes, Carlos Moeen bowled through the power play against West Indies and Bangladesh earlier on in the tournament, taking 2 wickets in his first 3 overs each time.
23 for 1. Moeen to van der Dussen, gives himself some room outside leg stump. Moeen bowls a straight ball, and van der Dussen hits it into the offside and takes a single. He set himself very early there, exposed his stumps. Moeen obliged by trying to hit the middle stump. Van der Dussen knocked it away. He's on 8, 24 for 1. Morgan comes over to have a chat with his bowler, which he's able to do really, because the field changes over just a fraction of time to do that. Now the field changes over for the left-handed Quinton de Kock. De Kock on 12. South Africa 24 for 1. Moeen round the wicket, bowls to de Kock, who pushes this into the onside. Big gap there. Goes out towards deep mid-wicket. Another run to the total. Score goes to 25 for 1. South Africa looking for a sizable total and then to restrict England. They possibly can to knock out Australia. 2 games going on here for South Africa. They need to do more than just win the match. They need to win it well. Moeen bowls. Van der Dussen wristily clips that away through mid-wicket for 1. Woods after it. And Woakes rather gets to his feet and sends in the return. And it hits Van der Dussen and deflects away from the stumps. But they don't run. It's the end of the 5th over. Moeen's bowled 3 overs, 1 for 18. England are 26 for 1. South Africa 26 for 1 after 5 overs. Van der Dussen has 9. De Kock has 13. Moeen with the wicket of Hendricks. More from you, Carlos, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
Yeah, South Africa will want to get a move on. Only 26 in the power play so far. 1 over left. They have only lost 1 wicket, which is a plus. But they want to be up around 42, 45 after the power play. They aren't the worst team in the middle phase from 7 to 15, but they need some momentum going into that phase because they ideally need to get at least 185 to keep all those permutations alive. And they need a massive score. And to do that, they need to show a little bit more intent and be a bit more positive.
Indeed. Well, it's a fascinating situation, isn't it? With South Africa needing to win, but also to win by a big margin. Woakes is on, and his first ball's clubbed away into the leg side, and it's picked up, or missed actually down there by Adil Rashid, so it's another boundary. So Woakes in his 3rd over, 30 for 1 in the 6th over in all, and Van der Dussen moves to 13. A good old clubbing swipe there into the leg side.
Nice little hack.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing necessarily subtle about that. Rashid did his best and couldn't get there. So, more runs for South Africa. 30 for 1 in the 6th. Reminder that Australia thrashed West Indies earlier. So Australia will be looking on from their hotel in Abu Dhabi. Just keeping an eye on this, certainly, to see what's going to happen. Morgan and Woakes having a conversation, but certainly Woakes in the best place. Australia in the best place at the moment as far as the qualifying is concerned. 30 for 1, some field changing around out there. And Woakes wheels round just inside the circle. Mark Wood playing for England today. Woakes' springy run is on his way and bowls. Oh, it's a huge shot into the leg side. It's the last over of the power play. This certainly lots of elevation. It just plops over the boundary a deep mid-wicket. It's not a big ground, Sharjah. And that was a very good stroke, really, down the pitch. And then flicking away, hoisting the ball away. It wasn't a big open shoulder shot. He went more as a vertical bat at this.
But again, a good sign of intent. And that's what they need. A little bit of advancement down the track, and the boundaries are small enough that if you show good intent and one of these players get away, they can get up to that 180 mark. But they need to continue that intent throughout the innings. Their place in the tournament depends on it.
Woakes again runs in hard, bowls. Van der Dussen again is down the pitch at him, but this time opts for a gentle nudge to mid-wicket to score the 11th run off this over. There's still 3 balls to go, and de Kock will be down on strike. And certainly Rassie van der Dussen has shown plenty of intent out there. 20 from 14 balls. Can he keep it going? 37 for 1 in the 6th. We're looking at dew and that sort of a thing, of course, in the second half of this match. What sort of impact it has. 37 for 1 in the 6th. De Kock on strike on 13. As Woakes trying to make sure he doesn't go too heavily in this over. Changes the field around. De Kock, of course, capable of anything really, that leg side particularly. In the power play, Woakes moves in, bowls James Ford, dabbing it away for a single, actually. Don't try anything too dramatic there. There's 1 run, 38 for 1. 2 balls to go in the power play, and then Morgan can set his fielders back. Morgan wearing a black armband there in memory of Alan Eggleston, who's a lovely gentleman who died the other day after a long illness. Good bowler too, was Alan. Condolences to his family and his friends. Just down the leg side. Anderson turning it away for a single to Jason Roy, who's in the deep. 39 for 1. South Africa on the charge, but they are going to have to score a lot of runs and then restrict England to a low total. 39 for 1, and that of course would only leapfrog Australia. Woakes was going to come in then, but changed his mind. 13 from the over. Run rate at the moment just over 6.5. Woakes again. Past the umpire, bowls over the wicket, and that's worked away by de Kock into the leg side. He wants 2 here if he can, but the fielder comes in quickly. And a lovely return finds Buttler from Roy there, and that, I think, a good decision there for South Africa to settle for 1. That's the end of their power play. 40 for 1. And I wonder how that compares to others and in this ground.
I'll check on this ground. In England's tournament, 40 for 1, pretty decent bowling and power play, but their worst or least good of the tournament so far. They've had 31 for 4 against West Indies, 27 for 3 against Bangladesh, 21 for 3 against Australia, and 40 for 3 against Sri Lanka. So the first time they've failed to take at least 3 wickets. That's still a tidy start, but I'll dig out the ground stats. Boy, that last one against Sri Lanka was at this same ground, 40 for 3 and 6 overs.
Now, what will South Africa be thinking about this, Carlos? 6 overs gone, 40 for 1.
Just about in the balance. They would love to be closer to 45, but England have been bowling well in the power play. How can they get up to 180 would be the conversation. 14 overs left, 140 runs is 10 over. You gotta get a move on. There'll be some big overs in the back end, but they need to keep that momentum up.
Moeen starts a new over, which is pushed into the offside there. They pick up a single. De Kock so far is playing quite carefully. He'll get himself in, I think, and ready to launch himself. But it is a small ground. The boundaries are shorter than any of the others out in that part of the world, so hitting 6s is not a problem. 41 for 1. Moeen spins himself a catch or 2, parts his hands, moves in again. Bowls to Van der Dussen, the right-hander. He works that away off his pads and finds the man coming in from deep mid-wicket who throws on the bounce. It's Livingstone. See him bowl, I suspect, shortly. The boundaries, as mentioned, are shorter, but he's had a good tournament so far with his wrist spin and his off spin, depending on whether he's bowling to a right or a left-hander. Moeen bowls as a reverse sweep. He's got under this, got it away over the infield, and that's a very clever shot from Kock. He knew where the field was. There's no one back, and he just had to get the elevation underneath it. So more than just simply reverse sweep, but actually had to hit it in the air as well. Clever shot.
Yeah, it's clever, well executed as well, but it shows the intent. It shows what they have to do. They can't allow England to bowl well and just try to win the game. They need to win the game handsomely, so you have to take calculated risks.
Moeen again, and the Kock steps away, gets a thick inside edge. Moeen pursues the ball to mid-wicket, and there's one more to De Kock. 21 from 16 balls. Van der Dussen on 22. It was clever. He literally did sweep it into the air as well, just to give it the loft.
Help it.
Yeah. Moeen again, and Van der Dussen picks up another one. Flicking away into the leg side. He goes to 23. 48 for 1. England's last group match. It's all coming to a bit of a climax now. The semi-finals on Wednesday and Thursday. Final on Sunday. Moeen bowling, played away off the front foot, finds the gap in the offside. Just, one more carefully played by De Kock. 49 for 1, 7 overs gone. Moeen pulls on his cap.
That's the second time this tournament Moeen's bowled 4 overs straight through at the start, opening the bowling. Before that, no England bowler had bowled a 4-over opening spell in a T20 match since Stuart Broad in August 2006. And the only one before that was John Lewis in England's first ever T20 game. A dramatic match against Australia in 2005.
He's done it well, Moeen, too, hasn't he? He has bowled, when he's opened the bowling in this, he hasn't done it every time, but it's generally gone pretty well. 49 for 1. De Kock on strike on 22. And Adil Rashid is coming on now. Really classic timing. He comes either 6th, 7th or 8th over usually. Now, you can tell me about that stat that I unfortunately didn't hear regarding Adil Rashid and the number of wickets he's got in T20 cricket through googlies. And we need a percentage of other ones. Here he comes, the bowls a low full toss. First of all, doesn't matter if that's a leg spinner or a googly. Didn't hit the pitch and pick up one. But has he got, I wonder, more wickets through googlies than through his orthodox leg spinner? And stats these days in cricket have become, well, so rich, so deep. A veritable mine that you can actually dig these sort of things out. 50 for 1. In the 8th, he spins himself some catches there as he waits for the field to settle.
There's a credit to the people making notes of it as well. Not just caught or bowled, but caught with this shot, this length, this ball.
Got to be very patient. As a reverse sweep from Van der Dussen, he's got it just over the head of the fielder. He'll get 4. Again, just where he just had to get the height on it. Rashid's looking disappointed. The 2 men behind square, but the reverse sweep just plays havoc. Plays havoc with your field placings and your plans. That was an orthodox delivery, a leg spinner. How far away was that? Yeah, just to his left. So perfectly placed.
They've executed it nicely, to be honest. Both right-hand and left-hander with reverse sweeps.
Next one is a wrong, an appeal for catch from Buttler, jumping up and down. The umpire said no. And didn't hear much in the headphones, so we shall see. Owen Morgan's coming over for a conversation. And yep, they're going to review this. It's given not out. It's a bit of a swipe from Van der Dussen, but Buttler was quite confident.
He thought yeah,
I'm not sure Rashid was all over this.
Original decision is not out. I can confirm it's a fair delivery, so we go on a front on spin vision, please.
All right, let's have a look. People are slapping Rashid on the back, but we don't know yet. It's a leg spinner. Van der Dussen tried to smear it into the leg side.
Okay, will you go to ultra edge, please, when it's available?
I think obvious there at the moment.
Just waiting for ultra edge, guys.
Everyone's waiting. The batsman's waiting. He doesn't look too concerned. He's prodding at the pitch with his bat. And the crowd looking on intently. We wait for the technology to wind itself up.
Okay, Ultra Edge coming up.
Let's have a look. Ultra Edge passes the bottom edge of the bat. There's nothing there.
Keep rolling it through. Keep rolling it through. Right through. Thank you.
In fact, there's no.
It's a flat line.
There's no squiggle on anything.
Involved. We go back to the on-field umpire, please. Joey Constow, the original decision of not out. I'll let you know when you're on the screen.
I think that's.
You make the signal now.
That's Josh Buttler who's got that one wrong. Dussen didn't look bothered at all. So England lose a review. They've got one left. 54 for 1 in the 8th over. And let's see what Rashid comes up with here. Then in he goes and bowls. It's very full. Worked away into the leg side by the right-hander. And rolls along the ground to Jordan. Out there in the deep. Arrow-like return. So you can reveal all at the end of this over, I think.
Right.
It might be quite a lengthy. It might not be. I don't know if we want the numbers on each type and then the percentage of. He bowls a lot of wrong uns and they get a lot of people out. So I'm not necessarily saying that I think it's more, but I think it's going to be surprisingly high. This one down the leg side, brushed away by Kock. I'll take a single because people just don't pick him. Did you hear the original broadcast of this stat, Carlos?
No.
Okay, so you can have a little try at it as well then.
Yeah, but if I hear Adil Rashid, I'll slide up my chair, Aggers. You didn't hear he started about him versus me?
No.
Don't repeat it.
Please. Well, that might be good value for later. There's Dussen turning it away around the corner. Down to fine leg. No, this is simply his balance of wickets with orthodox balls or wrong uns. He bowls a lot of wrong uns and gets a lot of people out with googlies, doesn't he? So, go on then.
So, in the games for which there is ball tracking data, which is most of Rashid's T20 international career, he has 28 wickets with googlies, so balls that have turned into right-handers and away from left-handers. He averages 15 with googlies, with leg spinners 38 wickets, average 26. Around a quarter of his deliveries have been googlies on their database, but closer to a third, over a third of his wickets, so they've been very effective. I compared him with other spinners. Hasaranga, when Indu Hasaranga, we've seen bowl so well for Sri Lanka in this series, takes more wickets with googlies. He's taken 21 wickets with googlies, 19 with leg spinners, and he averages 7.6 with his googlies, whereas Ish Sodhi and Adam Zampa, not such prodigious googly bowlers, most of their wickets with conventional leg spinners. Rashid Khan, similar proportion to Adil Rashid.
Excellent. Well, that was worth waiting for. Thank you, Andy. Because again, the wrong and the googly, the spin and the bounce is less predictable, isn't it? With the normal delivery, so cross-batted shots, they come with an element of risk. That sort of thing. Yeah.
And the thing with Adil Rashid as well, he has the googly that comes out the front of the hand and slides on nicely. So it's not, traditionally you say if you see the wrist or you see the thumb with the leg spin, it goes leg to off. And if you see the wrist, that's when you drop the shoulder and you bowl the googly. The googly is actually evolved now where they can flick it out the front of the hand.
Yeah, clever. And very few clues you get. Chris Jordan's on. 56 for 1, 8 overs gone. Round the wicket he goes, bowls short, and Kock clubs that out to point. He'll take one run. Livingstone in his usual position out there on that boundary. 57 for 1. Dussen 28. 11 balls to go. If I can tear into this toasted sandwich. It arrived just as I sat down. I can smell it. 11 balls to go. Simon better not be late. 57 for 1. Dussen 28 not out, and 16 runs have come from the last couple of overs. At the moment, England keeping things pretty much in check, but they do have wickets in hand, of course. They've got some big hitters to come down the order. .57 for 1. Van der Dussen. Over his back now is Jordan. Strides out, is there, and he bowls on the off stump. That's pushed away on the bounce out to cover. And there is no run. 57 for 1. Highlights on the BBC website and the app of this game, of course. And indeed the match before this, in which Australia beat the West Indies. But there's a lot of fun in that game, and I hope that's reflected in the highlights packages that are around, because the farewells to Gale and Bravo were fun. Yeah, they were all smile on the FaceTime, and some genuine emotional farewells too. In fact, in goes Jordan bowls, and that's pushed away by Van der Dussen to mid-on. They'll take a run. You see Chris Gale bringing his kit out and sort of giving it away, really, just handing it out to the crowd. Although I still haven't seen anything. I don't know what interviews he gave after the game to actually confirm that he has retired or not, whether he's just feeling generous with Christmas coming up. But it might have been that.
No more cricket for the year. Have my kit,
yeah,
but I'll be on a flight to Australia next year.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, knowing Gale very slightly, but I think I've got a slight sense of his humour. He might be having us all on, and the universe boss will live on. 58 for 1 in the 9th over. Jordan bowls, and Kock turns him away out through mid-wicket. One more run out to Livingstone, at run rate below 7. Morgan directs his team around. Always looks very calm. You don't see much waving of arms, though, in Morgan, or looks of tension or chewing fingernails. So he's remarkable how he manages to contain his emotions.
Yeah, Dhoni-esque. You see Dhoni just being the coolest, calmest customer in the most personal of times.
Jordan again runs in, bowls. Van der Dussen's hit on the pad. He moves a long way in front of his stumps. Jordan likes it. They've already lost a review, and they're coming back for 2 leg byes, with the ball has dribbled away to the edge of the circle at square leg. Leg byes are signalled.
I think that is out.
Looked pretty straight to me. He went in front of his stumps. Are they reviewing this? Yep, they are. I'm not sure the umpire should have signalled a leg by there either. He has to wait really until the ticker goes down. So we know he didn't nick it.
So we can go on in the umpire's estimation, he didn't nick it.
No, the umpire got it wrong, but he did walk in front of his stumps, didn't he?
Yeah, a good indicator is always the keeper. Yeah. And the keeper did not move at all. Buttler is still directly behind the stump.
Well, it's got to hit him in line with off stump. Oh, this is out, isn't it?
Can we go to ultra edge when it's available, please?
Surprised if this isn't out, unless he's nicked it.
Roll it through. Roll it through. Okay, there's no...
Sounds like Rod Tuckett, the third umpire.
Ball tracking when it's available, please.
Well, he's hitting middle stump, about halfway up, isn't it? Or maybe middle and leg.
Coming up now, Chris.
Morgan's confident.
Waiting on ball tracking.
Waiting for the technology. I think Van der Dussen this time doesn't look quite so calm. Here we go, red.
Coming out, pitching outside off, impact.
Umpire's call on the impact because of the distance, 3 metres, and it's hitting the stumps.
Chris, I'll let you know when you're on the screen.
Well, he's a lucky man there to get away with that, I think. He was more than 3 metres down the pitch. He must have taken a good big stride down, and therefore technology basically said, hey, I can't really deal with that.
So if I just bat 3 metres down the track...
Yeah, he can't be out. No, you can't.
Fair enough.
So, unless the umpire gives you out, of course.
Because if he had given him out, umpires